Hi, it's Sidney Kean again here with Chapter 4 of Pinocchio by Carlo Colodi. Pinocchio is about to go to school, remember? Geppetto has just sold his coat so that he can get money for a spelling book. And this is where Pinocchio leaves to go to school. Pinocchio set out for school with his fine spelling book under his arm, and talking to himself, he said, "Today at school I will learn to read at once. Then tomorrow I will begin to write, and the day after tomorrow to cipher. Then, with my acquirements, I will earn a great deal of money, and with the first money I have in my pocket, I will immediately buy for my papa a beautiful new cloth coat to buy me books and have me taught. He has remained in his shirt sleeves, and in this cold it is only fathers who are capable of such sacrifices. Whilst he was saying this, he thought that he heard music in the distance. He stopped and listened. The sounds came from the end of a cross street that led to a little village on the seashore. What can that music be? Oh, what a pity that I have to go to school, or else... And he remained irresolute. It was, however, necessary to come to a decision. Should he go to school, or should he go after the music? Today I will go and hear the music, and tomorrow I will go to school. Finally decided the young scapegrace, shrugging his shoulders. The more he ran, the nearer came the sounds of the fifes and the beating of the big drum. Fi, 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 zoom, 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 zoom. At last he found himself in the middle of a square, quite full of people who were all crowding round a building made of wood and canvas, with a placard which read, "Great Puppet Theatre." "How much does it cost to go in?" asked Pinocchio. "2 pence." Pinocchio was in a fever of curiosity, lost all control of himself, and without any shame, he said to the little boy to whom he was talking, "Would you lend me 2 pence until tomorrow?" "I would willingly," said the other, "but it so happens that today I cannot." "I will sell you my jacket for 2 pence," the puppet said to him. "What do you think that I could do with a jacket of flower paper? If there was rain and it got wet, it would be impossible to get it off my back. Will you then buy my shoes?" "They would only be good to light the fire." "How much will you give me for my cap?" "That would be a wonderful acquisition indeed. A cap of breadcrumbs. There would be a risk of mice coming to eat it whilst it was on my head." Pinocchio was on thorns. He was on the point of making another offer, but he had not the courage. He hesitated, felt irresolute and remorseful. But at last he said, "Will you give me 2 pence for this new spelling book?" "I am a boy, and I don't buy from boys," replied his little interlocutor, who had much more sense than he. "I will buy your spelling book for 2 pence, called out a hawker of old clothes who'd been listening to the conversation. And the book was sold there and then. And to think that old poor Geppetto had remained at home trembling with cold in his shirt sleeves that he might buy his son a spelling book. When Pinocchio came into the little puppet theatre, Harlequin and Pulcinella were as usual quarrelling with each other. The audience laughed till they were ill. All at once Harlequin stopped short, and turning to the public, he pointed with his hand to someone far down in the pit and exclaimed in a dramatic tone, Do I dream, or am I awake? But surely that is Pinocchio." "It is indeed Pinocchio," cried Puccinello. "It is indeed himself," screamed Miss Rose, peeping from behind the scenes. "It is Pinocchio! It is Pinocchio!" shouted all the other puppets in chorus, leaping from all sides on the stage. "It is Pinocchio! It is our brother Pinocchio! Long live Pinocchio!" "Pinocchio, come up here to me," cried Harlequin, "and throw yourself into the arms of your wooden brothers." Pinocchio made a leap from the end of the pit into the reserved seats. Another leap landed him on the head of the leader of the orchestra, and he then sprang upon the stage. The embraces, the hugs, the warm brotherly affection that Pinocchio received from the puppet dramatic company beat description. The public in the pit, finding that the play was stopped, became impatient and began to shout, "Go on with the play!" It was all breath thrown away. At that moment, out came the showman. He was a very big man, and so ugly that the sight of him was enough to frighten anyone. His beard was as black as ink, and so long that it reached from his chin to the ground. I need only say that he trod upon it when he walked. His mouth was as big as an oven, and his eyes were like two lanterns of red glass with lights burning inside them. He carried a large whip made of snakes and foxes' tails twisted together, which he cracked constantly. At his unexpected appearance there was a profound silence. No one dared to breathe. "Why have you come to raise disturbance in my theatre?" asked the showman of Pinocchio. "Believe me, honoured sir, that it was not my fault." "That is enough. Tonight we will settle our accounts." As soon as the play was over, the showman went into the kitchen where a sheep was turning slowly on the spit in front of the fire. He called Harlequin and Pinocchio and Puccinello and said to them, "Bring that puppet here. You will find him hanging on a nail. He is made of very dry wood. He would make beautiful blaze for the roast." The showman Fire Eater, for that was his name, had, however, not a bad heart. When he saw poor Pinocchio brought before him, struggling, screaming, "I will not die! I will not die!" he was quite moved and felt very sorry for him. He sneezed violently. "Achoo!" "Good news, brother," said Harlequin. "The showman has sneezed, and that is a sign that he pities you, and consequently you are saved." After he had sneezed, the showman shouted to Pinocchio, "Your lamentations have given me a pain in my stomach. Itch, 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 achoo!" "Bless you," said Pinocchio. "Thank you. And your papa and mamma, are they still alive?" asked Fire Eater. "Papa, yes. My mamma, I have never known. Who can say what a sorrow it would be for your poor old father if I was to have you thrown against those burning coals? Poor old man! I compassionate him." "Achoo!" "Bless you," said Pinocchio. "Thank you. All the same, I have no more wood with which to finish roasting my mutton instead of you. I will burn under the spit one of the puppets belonging to my company. Ho, there, gendarme! Take Harlequin, bind him securely, and then throw him on the fire to burn." Only imagine the poor Harlequin. His terror was so great that his legs bent under him, and he fell with his face on the ground. At this, Pinocchio, weeping bitterly, threw himself at the showman's feet, saying in a supplicating voice, "Have pity, sir. Fire Eater, I implore you to pardon poor Harlequin." "For him there can be no pardon. As I have spared you, he must be put to the fire, for I am determined that my mutton shall be well roasted." "In that case," cried Pinocchio proudly, "I know my duty. Come on, gendarmes, bind me and throw me amongst the flames. No, it is not just that poor Harlequin, my true friend, should die for me. These words, pronounced in a loud, heroic voice, made all the puppets who were present cry. Fire Eater at first remained as hard and unmoved as ice, but little by little he began to melt and to sneeze. And having sneezed 4 or 5 times, he opened his arms affectionately and said to Pinocchio, "You are a good, brave boy. Come here, give me a kiss." Pinocchio ran at once and deposited a hearty kiss on the point of his nose.